Hello everyone, and welcome to the English Teacher's Guide to the brand new GCSE Literature papers. We're looking at EDEXCEL today, and we're focusing on paper 2, and we're going to concentrate on how to answer section A, question B for the 19th century novels and poetry. So, there's a brief outline of the exam structure and the papers overall. So paper 2 is worth 50% of your total mark. Remember, there's 2 papers for literature, 2 papers for language. There's 2 sections here. Section A, which we're concentrating on now, is your 19th century novel, and section B is your poetry. We've gone through all this in our previous video, but there's just a reminder for you. Now, we went through this in our previous video, which is how to plan this response. So obviously do watch that video in order to make sure you understand the plan, because without a perfect plan, you will not achieve perfect marks, particularly now it's a closed book exam. So we went through these 2 elements, and you can see we talked about the mark scheme and how to achieve perfect marks and what it means you need to include. Because if you don't know what to include, you could be wasting your time. And then we went through the planning method, but again, we've gone through that already. We also looked at the method you need for your answer. Here was a question that we used, and again, remember, this is taken from Robert Cormier's Heroes, but the question structure is exactly the same. So this could appear for Pip, for instance, in Great Expectations. So we've planned the planning again, you can see in my previous video, and this is then what the answer looks like. So this is a little bit more analytical than you may want to use. It's also got more than one quote, and again, you can use one quotation, and that's absolutely fine. Make sure you've got perfect mark analysis to go with that. If you remember from our previous video, we said that this is not a question which focuses on AO2, your ability to analyse language, form and structure. That's what the first question does. However, if you're going to sound perceptive, if you're going to sound as if you know this text inside out, for me, you need to be doing some analysis. Not all of this all the time. This is a little bit extreme, but it gives you an idea. There's no doubt this will achieve a well and above perfect marks. It is also clear in the novel that the character Nicole is presented as precious. So you can hear this would be a second point. Before Cormier flashes back to the past, the protagonist Frances states that it will always be Nicole Renard. There's my quote. This quote highlights her importance. It suggests that everything that the character Frances does concerns Nicole. Notice I'm using character because they're not real. I'm understanding that this is a text created, making her dear or valuable to the protagonist, which means lead character, using that perfect mark terminology to make me sound like I'm going to achieve grade 9. The use of the noun it is unclear, therefore this could suggest that Cormier intends us to believe that to the protagonist, Nicole is everything to them. The world stopped when Frances asked Nicole on a date. Notice I'm using references from the text to just kind of almost show off how well I know the text. That's exactly what the first bullet point is asking you to do. Creating a sense of great value and importance which we associate with precious things. Additionally, the use of the character's full name again helps to create a sense of formality, which derives from importance, also highlighting a precious representation. Everything I'm doing is about the point. The presentation of Nicole continues into the penultimate chapter, where she is described again by Frances as like a painting in a museum and brittle. These quotes again raise the theme of her being precious, as a painting is something which is considered important and valuable when placed in a museum, a place where national treasures are kept, whilst also suggesting an aesthetic beauty. However, it also helps to highlight the distance that has now occurred between the 2 characters due to Frances' inability to defend a precious character, although having this knowledge could mean that Frances doesn't wish to hurt her anymore to preserve her precious quality, which is why a sense of distance may also be created. So there's alternative views. Furthermore, precious also suggests delicate. Brittle could highlight how easily breakable the now torn Nicole is psychologically after sexual assault earlier in the novel. And now's my evaluation. So again, as you said in the previous video, you don't necessarily need all this analysis, but you definitely need to have the high level use of quotation. You definitely need to have the excellent ideas, like precious is in this example, but you certainly need to make sure you're evaluating. Now, you might evaluate each paragraph like I'm about to do, or you might create an introduction and then go into detail. You don't necessarily need an intro and a conclusion for this question. However, you do need to evaluate, and quite often people do the evaluation as a conclusion. Cormier, the writer, needs to present Nicole as precious. Otherwise, the pursuit of her from Frances and Larry would be less believable, whilst at the same time helping to explain the extreme measure the characters Larry and Frances both take in regards to their reaction to Cormier's Nicole. So you can see I've used that point evidence explanation, I've used some of the aspects of analysis, but more importantly, I've got a great understanding of the text. I've used great evidence all the way through, and I've evaluated as well. And again, I've not forgotten that this is a text, so I'm talking about characters and how characters are created. And finally, if you're going to achieve perfect marks in this and any other exam, it's all about content, method, timing. If one of these three isn't perfect, then you will not achieve perfect marks. So 1, content. Do you know the poem, novel or play inside out? So if you don't, your example will not look like the one we just looked at. You'll become descriptive and your marks will reduce greatly. 2, the method. Know the technique you need when answering, just as well as the text. So if you do not know exactly how to answer the question, how on earth will you be able to achieve perfect marks? So as I've said already, the example you've just seen, that demonstrates exactly what you need to achieve perfect marks, and that's why it's going to get it. Thirdly, timing. Are you able to demonstrate your knowledge of the content using the required method in the exam time? Because if you can't answer in exam time, you won't finish your paper, you therefore won't get perfect marks. So do all those things perfectly, then you will achieve grade 9, you will achieve perfect marks. So thank you very much, keep revising, and good luck.